Hey humans, thanks for stopping by Visually and Verbally, where we look at marketing from both design and content perspectives. Pictures and words, my friends. Pictures and words. Today we're talking about the recently redesigned website for the cycling component company, Profile Design. You can find this website at profile-design.com.
To give you a little background, according to a post on Bicycle Retailer, the new Profile Design website was launched in March 2015 as part of the company's digital strategy to improve service for customers worldwide. The site features new photography and product highlights, and it can be tailored based on location to call out relevant content, news, and products most popular in the region. So let's talk about the content and design of this website. We'll flip a coin to see what side we'll start from, the visual or the verbal.
And we're tossing the Visually and Verbally coin. What will it land on? It's visually.
Ooh, twist.
Yes. As I tend to do, I'll focus on the design of the site. Primarily, the colors used in this site are really well integrated with the photography. And I say that because it has a lack of color. You have black and white and a gray palette along with highlights of red. And that is the key element. Its lack of color allows the site to focus on the products. And the products, which are bicycle parts, probably not that exciting to everyone, almost become art in a way. The photos they've chosen of athletes, they get an A+ in my book. When you're speaking to customers, whether you're selling vacations, like in a past episode of Visually and Verbally, or sporting equipment, you want them to imagine themselves in that moment. Or at the very least, be inspired by the people, in this case, athletes, you show using your products. So from an athlete's perspective, showing these athletes in these high intensity moments, whether they're cycling here or whatever, helps people transport themselves into that moment. They want to buy the products that help them achieve that moment. And they've done that very well here in this site. So those are the things I would pull out from the visually side. How about you, Shad?
Before I get to the verbally, I'll just say real quick, I agree with you that one thing that popped to me from a design perspective was definitely the use of black and white with that little bit of red coloration in it throughout the site. So to jump on to the verbal, which kind of, piggybacks on what you were just talking about, the thing about this site that I think it does pretty well is exhibit sort of the passion and the expertise this company has for the products they produce. I think that comes through pretty loud and clear, especially on the product pages, which is what I'm going to talk about in terms of content. The site does a pretty good job in many of the product descriptions of integrating the text with the different images and angles to kind of give you a full picture of the product and why it's different or better. It's even understandable if you're a cycling amateur like myself. So the best of the product pages does a really good job relaying both the technical specs and then translating that into real world benefits for the cyclists. Like, what do you get out of that? Here's what this thing we created can do. So how does that benefit you? And let me give you a few examples. This first one comes from the 5824 Clincher wheel page. And this one is, here's just an excerpt of text. Our proprietary high TG point resin is 30% higher than other high TG resins. All right, may or may not mean a lot to you. Then here's the next part of that. A rim that can withstand more heat leads to braking performance unseen on any other carbon rims. So there you go, there's the benefit. Another example is from the Aero HC System hydration page. And that starts out, independently adjustable computer mount integrates with the bracket and hides the computer behind the bottle for an additional aerodynamic advantage. So there you start out with the specs, move into the advantage for the cyclist. One final example comes from the Area T2 Aerobar page. And that begins, UCI compliant 3-to-1 aerodynamic full carbon fiber wing has zero drop from clamp to brake extensions. Combined with a shorter reach, this design translates to better control. So there you go, yet another example of moving from the technical specs of the products into the actual benefits for the cycles. That's a smart thing to do. And it's also a thing that a lot of companies miss within their product descriptions on their websites. They leave out that benefits aspect. They just focus all on the specs, which may or may not mean a lot to people depending on their level of expertise. Right. But what always means something to people is the advantages they'll get out of it. how that will benefit them. That will speak to your audience a lot better typically than just specs alone.
Yeah, and I love that you pulled out the product pages because I think, from a content side, they've done a really great job of, like you said, not just focusing on the features, which are the specs, but then the benefits, which is what we always talk about, you need to have on every website. Talk about how this benefits your customer. Most people want to know how that translates into how it makes their lives better. And in this case, these products help them be more efficient as a cyclist. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it does a good job at getting at the what's in it for me.
Yeah. And from a design perspective, the other thing I really like about the product pages, which I didn't really hit on any one of the product pages, they show the product almost like you're buying shoes. You know what I mean? They show different angles of the tires. They show close-ups, really nice high definition shots of what that tire looks like. And then even describe below that area the benefits of the product. They zoom in on that area on the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do a lot better than most sites do with integrating the visually and verbally as we talk about it, breaking up the text and showing that with different, like you said, close-up images or aspects. So you kind of get a visual image while you're reading these broken out descriptions and benefits, which is helpful. It's more than just the typical is here's a picture, here's a description. They're separated, but they really do a good job integrating them together on this site.
Yeah. Well, that's this website, Visually and Verbally. We hope this gives you some ideas for your own website. If you'd like to suggest a website for us to talk about, email us at feedback@thinkmonsters.com. Stop back again for another dose of Visually and Verbally.
Yeah.